This is the Happy Families podcast with Dr. Justin Coulson. We are Luke and Susie, and this is the podcast for time-poor parents who just want answers now.
We've had a question through from Melanie. Let me read it to you. She said, my 2-year-old son is a total mummy's boy. Yes! And although he loves his dad, he only wants me to read to him, pick him up in the morning, cries for me often. And although I'm exhausted and need that break, I'm also feeling guilty when I hear him crying for mummy when he's with his dad. Am I never supposed to be without him? Dr. Justin Coulson joins us in the studio, our parenting expert, to address this question from Melanie. About a 2-year-old son who's a mummy's boy, Justin, and mum's overwhelmed and exhausted.
Yeah, so the bad news is that this is a developmental reality. You know, kids are biologically wired to want to connect to us as parents, and they have a hierarchy. We call it an attachment hierarchy. That's the official word for it. And in most cases, so long as mum is healthy and well, mum is at the top of that hierarchy, which means that in spite of dad's best efforts or any other caregiver, you know, grandma, aunties, even siblings, in spite of our best efforts, it's pretty rare for any of us to succeed in taking mum out of top spot, which is beautiful, right? Except when you're mum and you're exhausted, and particularly if mum's having mental health issues. I mean, it's sometimes life-threatening in the most catastrophic of cases.
And so I guess that's probably important for us to highlight here that as we talk about the general topic in response to this general question, you know, in a sense, this is excluding cases of extreme
So my response for this is for parents who are normal exhausted parents who are doing it the normal way and just being like, bah. And look, I'm using the word normal in inverted commas. I recognise that even can be an insensitive word. We are always a little bit light when we have these conversations. But you know, only a dad could say this, but enjoy it while you can. I know that sounds like it's an insensitive thing because mum's saying I'm exhausted, but one day this little baby, and I know mum's probably thinking I can't wait for that day, but one day that little baby is not going to look at you and say you're my number one.
And your heart will break. I've had that moment.
Suze, you've had that moment. Suze
is having it again right now.
For years,
the tears are there.
I was told, I don't love you as much as mummy. I don't love you as much as mummy. I love mummy more. And then one day, the same child put me on the top of the list. And Suze,
not that it's a competition.
No. We would reiterate the whole time, and I was different. No, you can love people equally. You don't have to create a list.
But the kids actually do. The kids do, and it is a phase. And I guess this is the simple and major message of this for most kids in typically developing circumstances with a loving and attached mum and dad, or caregivers generally, mum is usually going to be at the top of the hierarchy. They will develop through it. It is exhausting, but while you're there, to the extent that it's possible, can you love it? Can you just embrace it?
That's a nice simplistic answer. I'd like to address.
The answer's no.
I'd like to address the tail end of Melanie's question that came through. She finished with this line: "Am I never supposed to be without him?"
And I sort of sounded a bit insensitive. I know that. I didn't mean to. With good support, you can absolutely have me time. But there's probably a couple of things that we should talk about when it comes to mums and kids and me time versus we time. Me time is important, and I think I might get to that in just a sec. Research tells us, however, and tells us fairly consistently, that in terms of what will be good for our well-being and the family's well-being, we time trumps me time.
Yeah,
and when I say we time, I don't mean that time in front of the computer game, the Wii on the TV. I mean we time, like us being together. Yeah. And that, again, that's really hard when you're exhausted and you quite frankly, you don't want to see that toddler for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of years maybe. That's really, really hard. Yeah. But when we understand that we time is so crucial for the formation, the development of this little person, so crucial for the foundations of our family, and actually so important for creating meaning in our own lives, we time actually becomes absolutely vitally important. Oh, two people have got their hands up. If you were watching this, you would have seen two hands go up. My turn.
It seems counterintuitive. This is all I was going to say. Like, the fact is, I need a break, but the we time is going to give me the greatest refreshment, which is what you're saying some of the research shows. So it's like when you're exhausted physically and they say, go to the gym and go exercise. Like, how is that going to help me feel less tired?
I hate it when exercise is the answer. Yeah.
It commonly is. But I think it does take that change of mindset, because I think back to when I was heavily pregnant with twins and I had a 2-year-old or nearly 2-year-old. one of my favourite memories was when I just changed the track in my head of what I was supposed to be doing as a mum. And instead of sitting around constantly trying to keep this child entertained and making sure he had the right meals and the house was tidy and everything was under control, I went, you know what? I'm going to read a book. And we went out into the sunshine. I sat on the back step and I had my book, and he ran around where I could see him and where he was near me chasing butterflies. And it's my go-to memory. The first thing that flashes through when my life flashes before my eyes. That's one of the first
How often does that
pictures.
happen that your life flashes?
Look, I'm a daredevil. What can I say? But another one was
that's like a goosebump moment, right? You share that, and anyone who's a mum who's actually stopped and just said, I'm going to have some good quality. I mean, I guess in some ways that is me time, but you've done it together. You've made your little guy feel like he's part of the moment, and it becomes a magical gold fleck in your memory bank.
Yes, even after the twins were born and they were babies, and I felt housebound because it was difficult to get out of the house with 3 kids. When I changed the track and went, let's just go to the beach. It's a sunny day and I've got a car.
Yeah.
I grabbed some snacks.
Yeah, you don't have to be confined to the house.
I grabbed 2 beach towels. I grabbed some snacks and a couple of a water bottle for each child. I put them in the car and we drove to the beach. And as soon as we got there, Tyson took off all his clothes and started chasing seagulls.
That's what you do.
He started chasing seagulls, yelling out,
thing.
chickens! Chickens!
But it was we time, but it was refreshing because I changed the track of what I felt I was supposed to do as a mum, or what I felt my capacity was as a mum.
Yeah, I think there's so much we can continue on with this conversation.
I've got to say something really quickly.
Okay.
I know we're out of time,
yeah.
but I'll be super, super quick.
Yeah, keep it quick. No.
When it comes to me time, because this is important as well. We can't just say to an exhausted mum, it's all about we time.
Yeah.
You do need some time out. You do need some me time. But if you're going to have me time, you want it to be genuinely rejuvenating. You want it to be truly refreshing. You want it to be reinvigorating and energizing for you, which means that the last thing that you want to do is sit on the couch and stare at a screen or go on watching a movie. You know, that's dead brain time. And as much as it's easy, it's like fast food for your soul. It's not going to do you any good. Go and find good friends or go and do something active. Do something in nature. Nature is fuel for the soul. If you can combine those kinds of things, you'll find that your me time becomes far more beautiful, far more refreshing, and please remember that when your me time is over, you are going to be stepping back into chaos and neediness and challenge again. Be ready for that, because otherwise, I've watched this happen with families that I've worked with. The mum who goes to get the me time starts to resent the child even more when she gets back, because the child is making life so much more horrible that she can't have more me time. So we time is king.
And as the support person, as the husband in this scenario, I know that, Suze, there are times when we've kicked you out of the house and you've struggled because the child was screaming as you were leaving. But once you leave,
bit of distraction,
it's
90
it's
seconds,
all over.
wrestle,
and we're
walk.
good, but you leave with that memory in your head and it can roll through you, and then you can not enjoy the time. It's not refreshing because all you're thinking about.
And I think that's a learned skill as a mum, to learn to say, it's okay.
It's okay.
They're
Got
going to be
this.
fine.
And a great support person will kick you out the door with a smile on your face, on their
100%.
face, and they won't call you 90 seconds later and say, this was a bad idea. They'll let you go and have fun.
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you far away? How much longer? Are you home soon? Dr. Justin Coulson from happyfamilies.com.au. Thank you so much.
Always great to chat.
If you enjoy the podcast, please take a moment to rate it on iTunes. When you do that, it increases the visibility of the podcast and helps more people to find it. And if you're not a subscriber, jump onto Apple Podcasts and subscribe so that you can hear every episode as soon as it is uploaded. For more information on all of Dr. Justin Coulson's books, programs and podcasts, go to happyfamilies.com.au, or if you'd like to have Dr. Justin Coulson speak at your school or event, go to justincoulson.com.